I think the really shocking news today was that General Petraeus thought and hoped he could keep his job. He thought that it might and would be kept secret, and then he could stay in his position. I think what that tells us is really important. It meant that he understood that the FBI obviously knew what was going on. He was hoping that those administration officials would not disclose what had happened, and therefore hoping that he would keep his job. And that meant that he understood that his job, his reputation, his legacy, his whole celebrated life was in the hands of the administration, and he expected they would protect him by keeping it quiet. And that brings us to the ultimate issue, and that is his testimony on September 13. That's the thing that connects the two scandals, and that's the only thing that makes the sex scandal relevant. Otherwise, it would be an exercise in sensationalism and voyeurism and nothing else. The reason it's important is here's a man who knows the administration holds his fate in his hands, and he gives testimony completely at variance with what the Secretary of Defense had said the day before, at variance with what he'd heard from his station chief in Tripoli, and with everything that we had heard. Was he influenced by the fact that he knew his fate was held by people in the administration at that time? But of course it was being held over Petraeus' head, and the sword was lowered on Election Day. You don't have to be a cynic to see that as the ultimate in cynicism. As long as they needed him to give the administration line, to quote Bill, everybody was silent. And as soon as the election's over, as soon as he can be dispensed with, the sword drops and he's destroyed. I mean, can you imagine what it's like to be under that pressure? And to think it didn't distort or at least in some way unconsciously influence his testimony? That's hard to believe.